Hello and welcome back to another Demis Hellen tutorial. We're going to finish this week up on Reverb. It seems to be the theme for this week. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to implement some reverb onto this track. We're going to use ROM for this one just because I do like the sound of ROM. It is pretty nice. So at the moment we've got this steely Caribbean sound here, but technically everything's got a bit of reverb on in terms of melodic sequence. And as you can see, Oral River, for some reason I didn't reinstall it when I changed my system over. So I've loaded ROM instead. And we're just going to put some effect into it and just give it a little bit more depth and a little bit more character, because it's got quite a good groove at the moment. Almost sounds like you should be doing salsa or something to this. And yeah, it just needs that little bit of reverb in there to make it sound rather nice. So let's have a look at the steely Caribbean sound here. Let's just repeat the main section. So this is one of the effects. And if we look at the mixer there, we can see it's the first one, and it's got quite a lot on it. So it's affecting the vocal lines and the percussion. Okay, so this is just the default preset that loads with ROM. And we could have a filter through some factory presets, get some ideas. So let's do that first, and let's start with medium. I always start with large. Let's start with medium reverbs and see what we can come up with. So we've got a few different things that are happening here, linked to pianos, drums, stuff like that. So Pleasant Club sounds interesting. You could be with anyone, I could be with. That gives it a nice little bit of delay on it. You could be with anyone. Let's just listen to this on only this. So it's a little bit of a delay. You can see on 16, it's in straight. So that gives it a little bit of depth. You could be with anyone, I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone, I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone, I could be with anyone. So it adds a little bit of character, and that sounds quite nice. So we'll keep that in mind with this for the pre-delay, so it's quite syncopated to the track. That might fit quite well. Let's have another look at another one. Wooden Room. You could be with anyone, I could be with anyone. So it's giving a more muffled effect. There's a bit of dampening on there and a lot of high cut on there as well. So I'm listening for a sound that is going to complement. There's a lot of harmonic detail going into this reverb as it's on a send level. So you're affecting the vocal line and the melodic sequence. So I want something that sits quite nice and adds a lot of tonal quality to it. And these smaller rooms, so like it's a medium wooden room, I've increased the decay a little bit in the size and the mix at the same time, but it's the pre-delay, the feedback, it's all the things that ROM offers that is giving it a nice sound. So I do like the sound of wooden room as well. So let's go one smaller. Let's go to small rooms and we'll just tweak them a little bit. So dense room. Let's try dense room. You could be with anyone, I could be with anyone. So it's very close to how the sound is already generated. Or it sounds like a small room. So let's increase this decay a little bit. So it sounds better on a denser setting there. It sounds okay. It's not what I'm looking for. So we're going to skip the small rooms. So I think medium room, wooden room is my favourite, but we're going to put in the effects of that medium room. So I want to use this 16th straight rhythm that was added into the pre-delay, but put it into the wooden club. So if we go back here, wooden room, should we say, and what I'm going to do is just increase the reverb a bit in terms of size, bit more decay, bit more mix. Epic. And then we're going to pick 16th. Let's see what it sounds like. So now it's affecting the rhythm. That reverb is not coming in straight away. It's delayed by a 16th. So it kind of gives it that more staccato feel, like you want to move a little bit more. So that sounds good with that. But in context with the vocals.
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with.
It washes over really nicely. I really, really like this. Let's just see a little bit more modulation and a little bit less high cut on there.
You could be with anyone.
Just to make it a bit crispier.
You could be with anyone.
Let's try it again on there. Okay, so I'm just balancing the dampening out to the high cut. The high cut is a little bit crispier, but the dampening just softens the top if you just move it a little bit. Just try the different diffusion settings here. Okay, it's having very little difference in terms of diffusion, just because the settings are quite low. I'm not really hearing too much difference in sonic quality. So,
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone.
so it's having an effect. It just flattens off a little bit.
I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone.
Okay, so I'm going to increase. Let's just listen to this as a reference. So it falls off quite quickly, which is about right in terms of timing. So I just want it to overlap a little bit, so we get a little bit of harmonic content overlapping. So let's try this one. There, so it's just a little bit longer on the reverb tail. You can hear this better in headphones, by the way. Let's just increase the mix. There's no harm in that. Let's apply it to the entire track, and I'll just bypass it on the second pass.
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You could.
Brilliant. That's now, so it softens the sound. If you can't hear it, just go back to the start of that demo there, and you'll hear when I bypass it, the sound of the track is relatively the same, but the reverb is just adding that little bit of smoothness to the track, and it gels everything together really well. In terms of, as soon as you start putting some glue compression on the master channel, that is going to sound absolutely gorgeous when it goes to mastering. So that is where we're going to go. So wooden room, I could mess around with the feedback a little bit, and maybe even just try Cosmic Canary and just see what they sound like, but I'm happy with wooden room, and it's more just to show you how I'd implement that on top of a track. So that is really influencing some of the main elements, two of the melodic, two of the vocal elements, but the second channel's not in use at the moment. And then we have this channel here, which is your percussion section. So we've got a few there, and you can see they're all affected at different levels. So a lot less on the percussion, more on the melodic sequence, and a bit less on the vocals. So they're all balanced nicely in the track. that is how I would get a nice overall sound that works for that particular type of track. Yeah, try reverb on one of your tracks, see what happens to your sound, and just don't go crazy with it, just kind of dial it in slowly. Sometimes it's easier to dial it in maximum and dial it back, but then you're influenced by the sound of the reverb, so incrementally upwards till you kind of get where you want to be. And I had an idea that I wanted it to be fairly smallish room, so not a large one, but with just enough decay to overlap, and that is what we achieved there. So let's just try this feedback higher up and just see what we get with ROM.
You could be.
So let's try this. Ooh. So it just constantly starts progressively getting more intense. So that is quite a nice setting there. Let's just set it a little bit higher than it was, about 45. Just add a little bit of detail in there, just a little bit of modulation. That sounds really nice.
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. Yeah, you could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. Yeah, you could be with anyone.
We can definitely hear the difference there now.
You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. Yeah, you could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. Yeah.
So almost with this sound, you're getting that Thomas the Tank Engine like hoot hoot sound. So if you know what I mean, let me know in the comments. But it's that satisfying sound that has been designed there. I really do like that one, coupled up with the xylopops. Sounds really, really nice. So if this tutorial helped you, please let me know in the comments. Let me know how you're implementing reverb into your tracks. Finally, hit the like button. That helps the algorithm pick up the video so other people can learn these techniques and we can all learn together, as well as me learning. We all know that is what this channel is about. We learn both ways, we learn every day. And finally, hit subscribe if you haven't already. 3 videos per week on various music topics. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.